Get ready to move, get ready to groove. We're bringing the funk, gonna make you move. Life back system, it's time for change.
Good morning, Coach Lisa Pickard here with a 8-week transformation course. Today we are talking about the hair loss and the carnivore way of eating. Okay, you guys, carnivore is not your problem. Let me just clarify that straight up. We have so many other issues going on inside of our body. I'm gonna make this as delicate and sweet as I possibly can. But to be honest with you, it's 2 boards, there's a front and a back, and I want to cram this in as fast as I possibly can. Is carnivore the #1 reason you're losing hair? No, it's not. Okay, on the far side over there, we have a type 1. This means that when you were 14, 15, maybe 12, you hit puberty, you have a part somewhere naturally in your line. You had either a little bit of white skin showing or no white skin showing, which you could see the first line is very, very limited amount of part. That's what we'll call it. As you age and you go through menopause, it actually gets a little bit wider. Then when you hit 70, 80 years old, it's a little bit wider. I guess I could take mine down and show you. So I don't know if this will show, but here's my part, right? I have very little part line that shows, right? I have a side part, so mine doesn't show really at all in the middle. Now, I'm already obviously past puberty and I'm past menopause. But each one of us were born with a DNA of our bloodline, and that is your hairline as well. Okay, so I would be a type 1, but I didn't have a super thick hair, but I had a good amount of hair. Type 2 is you're born with less hair. Now this is kind of a DNA genetic thing, and maybe your scalp always showed even as a teenager, right? I have some children like that. Then it got more and it got more, and if you're paying attention over there, the second line is type 2. The dark part is the actual skin, so you can see where it gets lighter, wider and wider. Type 3, I have one of these children too, that was genetic from the other side of the family, where there is male pattern baldness, and then there's also just female loss of hair in the temples. Okay, so this would be a genetic DNA type of hair. So we all start out with either type 1, type 2, or type 3. Then we have all this stuff happen to us in life. We all got to carnivore because we were sick. We just have to be honest. You are sick. The world is sick. The FDA is sick. We've all been fed a bunch of sick foods, chemicals, toxins. It's just out of control. So this is why we're carnivore, because we're going back to the basics. We have to give our body what it needs in order to produce a really good hair follicle. Is it too late at my age, or 70 or 80 years old? No, it's never too late as long as you're willing to heal the organs. So let's go right below type 1, type 2, type 3. My board has a lot of information on it. If you want, take a picture of it. You can go back and study it later. But the purple is your follicle that is actually already alive inside your skin. Then you have your dermis level, and you have the oil and the blood, and you have your hormones, which allow this to get the flow of what the nutrients that are needed to the hair. And from there, the hair pops through the follicle, and then it grows. It has a cycle. All hair sheds. You shed somewhere between 50 and 100 strands a day on a healthy head of hair. And you're going, yeah, but all mine's falling out and it's carnivore fault. No, it's not. And I'm going to tell you why it's not. Okay, so the hair follicle has a process, but it's only generated by hormones. So now you can kind of go back and remember when you hit puberty, you had hair growth. On your arms, your armpit, your privates, your legs, everything started to get this hair growth. Okay, then we hit menopause, and even for men who have liver cirrhosis, they have liver issues, they're very hairless. So they don't have a lot of hair on their legs, they don't have a lot of hair in their armpits, and they very little hair on their chest. Technically, men are to have a lot of hair. That's the way God created them. I don't know why we have it. I mean, I do know why. It's supposed to be for bugs and particles and to keep us clean, hair in our nose, hair in our ears. And if you think about it, if we weren't shaving all of our hair off and we lived in the jungle or the wild, we would definitely want those things for like mosquitoes and flies and bugs or whatever, right? So, okay, stay on track here. So hair loss from carnivore is a lie. It does not cause you to lose hair. But what does cause you to lose hair is an overactive DHT or a underactive DHT, which if you're overactive, that means you have really, really high levels of testosterone. You can take a blocker and you can lower it, okay? That's like one of the #1 things. And if you had an underactive and you were a male and you had erectile dysfunction, you have early ejaculation, you don't have firmness of the penis, you would take DHT to increase the testosterone level. So this is one of the #1 reasons why I always say, I need to see your blood work. I need to see where you're at. You need to talk to your doctor about this. I'm not a doctor, but knowing your testosterone level, we're gonna scoot down here for a minute, knowing your cholesterol levels, estrogen levels, your progesterone, your aldosterone, and your testosterone, vitamin D, omega-3, cod liver oil, this balance of hormones, those are all hormones, not the cod liver oil, but the rest of it, this is what lets us know why your hair is thinning. So now we have hormones, we have thinning hair, and then we have hair loss. The way it works is the hormones are responsible because if you have high insulin, type 2 diabetes, you've eaten sugar your whole life, lots of carbohydrates, you actually cut off the blood flow and the oils and the hormones to your hair follicle. This all goes hand in hand, so bear with me. Okay, from here you have what they call a pathological path that goes to the healing of the hair or the hair cycle. So this path is broken due to hormone imbalance. So now we go over to thinning hair. You have thinning hair, the results is your liver. Why? Because the liver's not giving us the hormone. It has a damaged follicle transmission, so it's not doing its job. And from there we have hair loss, which there's a normal amount and then there's an abnormal amount and there's a life cycle to it. So over here is where we want to get that functioning properly. Now I'm going to jump around the board a little bit more and we're going to go down. What do you need? You need collagen to make your hormones work for your hair follicles. You need very, very high levels of vitamin D. 3 days isn't going to make it. 3 months is just going to be on the tip of it. You must stay on this for a very long time in order to stabilize your hair. So if you're at, let's say, 1,000 milligrams, 2,000 milligrams a day of vitamin D and know the sun is not cutting it, especially if you work indoors all day, what sun are you getting? You're 20 minutes, 10 minutes? No, this is not the proper amount. Because remember, we were designed to work outdoors. Man brought us indoors. Man got us, on the computers and all this stuff, but your natural being would have been for your head, your body to be exposed to the sun. So your vitamin D needs to be up to at least 20,000 IUs a day, and you could even go as high as 50,000 IUs a day. This right here, this hormone is going to come back to lowering everything down on the insulin level. It's going to increase your hair follicle building level, and it's going to make you really healthy, happy, and you're going to feel good. Vitamin D also reduces your stress levels because it automatically gives your brain what it needs to be in a better mood. And the next thing down is, sleep and stress. If you're not sleeping, you're putting stress on your body. Now, there's a stress that naturally occurs from being insulin resistant, type 2 diabetes. It's an internal stress. You're not actually getting it from outside factors. You're just like stressful on the inside. You don't even know you're stressful, but your body is stressed. It's tired. It's like the engine's making a little bit of noise, but it's not really screaming yet. Then all of a sudden it gets to the screaming point. You say, I have no other choice. I've got to see what these people are doing. I've got to reverse my insulin resistance, and you go carnivore. Now all all of these symptoms happen, you're like, it's gotta be carnivore, it's gotta be I'm doing something wrong. It's not. You are not doing anything wrong, but being impatient. So when you're impatient and you're not giving yourself the patience that your body, the patience and the time that it needs to heal, now you're adding undue stress on yourself mentally and physically, which ultimately affects the liver. So stress is huge. Chronic inflammation also affects your hormones. It affects your insulin and the insulin resistance, the process of that. Because your insulin isn't technically the issue, it's the resistance of it that's the issue. So all of you people who are bouncing all over the board, you're like this, I don't know if I could do that, you've been doing the program, but you're not faithful to it. Like maybe you did it, but then you cheated on a week, and maybe you did it for 2 weeks and then you cheated 2 weeks. Whatever it is, no judgment. All I'm saying is that if you are carnivore, you must stay carnivore, because remember, I've been teaching you this for a long time. Everything that you do today, you're not going to see it for 90 more days. So if you've been doing this for 100 days and you think the results are there, but you technically didn't do 100 days faithful, now you're back to day one again. So every time we fall off, we have sugar, carbohydrates, we ate, we drank, whatever it is, the next day is day one. And yesterday I spoke with some new clients and I'm like, how long have you been carnivore? 2 years. Oh, do you drink alcohol? Oh yeah, every night. Okay, then you're not carnivore. Like, I know that sounds crazy and crappy, and maybe you don't like it, but it is the truth. You must stay carnivore. Like, your body can't afford the bouncing back and forth. Now, just think for a moment the confusion of your hair follicle that thinks, yeah, we're gonna get everything we need. They're finally doing it right, and then you go and you do something else. Well, that process gets a halt in it. It gets the follicle transmission has a break in it. And then the stress of the age of that follicle already is affecting it. And then from there, we have some process that happens, which is your antigen and your catagen. One says you're going to grow, and the other one says you have to get out. These are triggered by the broken paths of your hormones. So let's scroll on down a little bit further, and look at chronic inflammation. Any fluid retention in your body is causing hair loss. So when you get the fluid moving and you stay faithful to that, then you are going to get the hair growth. Okay, so now we start taking care of insulin resistance. How do we get rid of insulin resistance? We must flatline our insulin. Now, some people, and this is totally fine with me, you guys got to figure out what works for you. I will guide you, but literally I cannot force feed you. Some people will still keep vegetables in there. They'll keep 10 grams of carbohydrates a day, or maybe 30 grams of carbohydrates a day. But no matter what it is that you're doing, I'm gonna recommend 0 carbohydrates. It has been proven over and over again through scientific studies, 4 grams a day is sufficient. Like, literally, you don't need any more of that. So if you're still bouncing on and off that wagon and you're just picking up carbohydrates in places that you didn't know, you're gonna have an issue there. Bob, you gotta edit because I have a dog that's tearing my door up. Sorry. Go lay down, Wrangler. Sammy let them out, sorry you guys, and then they come and destroy my door. Okay, so let's go back to insulin resistance. Bob, cut, we're back in. All right, insulin resistance, you guys, this is the #1 killer of your entire body. Like, literally, every single time you think that you're playing with insulin, you're taking metformin, you're doing this, you're doing that, you're adding to the problems. You are not healing your problems. If you would just go carnivore and stop thinking about, like, oh, but I missed the cheesecake and I missed the pie. Quit thinking about what you used to do, because what you used to do is what made you sick. So think about what you're gonna do to be better, right? We wanna constantly look forward. This and all autoimmune diseases cause hair loss, thyroid, literally, whatchamacallit, your lymphatic system, your fibro system, your fibromyalgia, all this stuff comes together and destroys your hair pattern. High blood pressure destroys the hair. Your liver destroys the hair. Your pancreas, your kidneys, it all causes hair loss because it's a malfunction in the system. So this is what destroys the follicle pathway that gives you the growth. All right, so now we go down and we look at the autoimmune system, and it is always tied into can't lose weight. So now we have obesity, or we have obesogens, we have toxins, we have all these things running through our system that causes hair loss. If you have not switched your cleaning products, your candles, your clothing, your facial products, your makeup, if you're still doing all of that and you have autoimmune disease, you're still feeding your endocrine disruptors, which is still causing your body to not communicate properly to get your hair to grow. I'm telling you, I went through this. I had massive hair loss. I've always had a massive amount of hair, and to this day, I probably have about 1/4, maybe half of what I used to have. But listen, if you do this, you can regenerate your hair growth. 90 days is nothing compared to 5 years or 10 years from now when you're healed. Like, you literally got to give yourself time to heal from being sick. All right, so you weren't able to lose weight and you're always sick. You have runny nose, allergies, asthma, you get cold sores, you have viruses, you've got funguses. I mean, all of this stuff is signs of a sick liver and a sick digestive gut system. So we're gonna jump into the gut for a moment. Because if your liver doesn't get what it needs in order to fill your gut, to take care of your gut, now we have leaky gut syndrome, we have Crohn's, we have colitis, we have intolerance to gluten, we have all these things that are going on. And there's a couple other issues that get thrown off in the gut that also affect the hair growth. Now, we went down to here, we're at the can't lose weight and we're sick. We're gonna jump over here for a minute and we're gonna look at what happens when our body is sick, the blood pulls away, and it gives you death to your hair follicle. But the thing is the follicle on the outside falls out, and the hair follicle on the inside, it closes and it can't push through because the body isn't giving it the fat that it needs with the blood to push through to do what it has to do. And yes, I'm breaking this down to layman's terms. I'm trying to explain it to you guys as simple as I possibly can, but the blood restores the regrowth. So now think about the blood cells in the liver. They're moving into the bloodstream. Over here we have the bloodstream, we've got the oils, and we have the blood. They come together, which we see oily hair, we see dry skin, we see dermatitis. I mean, it's all tied in. Your hair, your nails, your skin, it's gonna show what's happening inside the liver. So now we take the blood vessel supply, we push it back up, we give it really healthy red blood cells, and you still have to have the fat. So let's drop down a little bit further here. Now we have fat-based hormones, right? So this is where your cholesterol has to be producing. Your liver makes cholesterol. So all these years that you were like low cholesterol, high protein, grains, seed oils, fibers, you were destroying your hair growth. So now we come in and we X that out and we have weight loss, or we change our way of eating, we're automatically gonna see hair fall out because it is dead and it doesn't serve a purpose to you anymore. And now you're gonna grow really healthy hair. It happens in chemo treatments because the same thing, the immune system gets killed, they destroy the cells, and then you come back, hopefully with immunotherapy, you retreat that blood cell, you heal the blood, and then the hair grows back. I have a sister-in-law who just went through chemotherapy, lost all of her hair, wore wigs during that time frame. Now her hair is about this long, super curly, beautiful black, and it's growing back. Do you think she enjoyed not having hair for a year? She's a performer. Of course she wanted hair. So you just wear wigs or get extensions or do whatever you gotta do if that's like a huge complex to you. But the bottom line is that your body is sick and now it has to heal. It's no different than a chemo patient, but they were sick with cancer. You're sick with obesity. You're sick with fluid retention, inflammation, type 2 diabetes. These are things that definitely hurt the hair, and insulin resistance is the biggest one. So all autoimmune diseases cause hair loss. Weight gain. Okay, so now we've got our cholesterol, our estrol, our progesterone, our aldosterone, our testosterone, our vitamin D, and our omega-3, and our cod liver. We're gonna park that right here for a moment. You're saying to me, do I need to run out and grab these supplements? How much am I gonna take? What am I gonna do? Guess what, you guys? The solution is red meat. Red meat gives you your B12. It gives you your iron. It takes you away from being anemic. Anemia, B12 and iron also decreases hair growth and increases fallout. So red meat takes care of that problem. You're going, well, what can I eat? I'm bored of eating. I want to have cereal. I want to go back to vegetables. You can do all that. I'm never telling you you can't do it, but just remember, every time you do that, you're kicking the can further down the road to the point that you're going to have to keep healing. So if you just stay true to the path, and remember, this is not a diet. You're not doing this just for like 3 months or 6 months. You're doing this for a lifetime. There is no more other way unless you want to be really sick again and end up hospitalized. I don't want that for you. I know that the blood work tells the story, so if you don't know, I'm not a doctor, get your blood work done, go see a doctor, functional medicine, let them evaluate all of your hormones, and make sure your fat hormones are working, which are the ones we just talked about, and in menopause, they completely go away. Which is why you're here, because you thought you had a menopause problem, but you actually have a liver problem, and we got to get your body making these again. It doesn't happen overnight. If you are a little bit damaged, it's a little bit of time. If you're a lot of bit damaged, it's a lot more time. If you go on and off and on and off, and you cycle like you've done your entire life, then it's on and off and on and off. Hair might grow, hair might fall out. But no matter what, you got to make those choices every single day, which is why I give you the habits and the pillars to do it. Now, we're going to move into how long does growth take? Growth takes, are you ready for this? 90 days to fall out. 90 to 120 days to regrow. So you get these little baby guys, we always call them baby hairs, and they're like yay long, and you're like, wait, I think I see growth. All right, leave it alone. You want to do something for your head? Massage it. Use oil on it. Do cod liver inside. Ingest cod liver oil. It is great. Get your omega-3s in there. Eat. Down on the bottom there, I've got, what do you eat? You're going to eat seafood. You're going to eat red meat. You want lots of eggs. You have to fast. Fasting gets rid of insulin resistance. And on top of that, butter, right? And you're like, well, I'm gaining weight and this is happening. You haven't even given your body time to adapt to anything. We are not Amazon. We are not machines. We are not robotic. We are humans. We were broken, wounded warriors. Our bridge has taken us over to the island of gain versus the island of pain. And you guys, please be patient with yourself, because when you wake up every day and you go to that mirror and you're like, oh my gosh, it's falling out worse, you're stressing yourself. You're putting yourself under undue stress. Seriously, go buy a wig. I'm not joking. Wear a hat, find a different hairstyle. Do whatever you got to do to get through that hair loss process. I was there. I woke up every single morning. I can post the videos. Got online. I was like, oh my gosh, you guys, I'm so sorry. These little guys are just like, bing, 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 bing. It fell out so bad when I started to correct my healing. But I wanted to be healed. I didn't care about my hair. I mean, I care, but I didn't care, because healing, moving, having my life back was far more important than the length of my hair or the thickness of my hair. And I was patient, and I loved myself through it. And I did everything that I could possibly do to not stress, including keeping my vitamin D up, somewhere around 50,000 IUs a day, and we start to get hair growth. Is it back completely to where I want? No, to be honest with you, I'm thinking about cutting it to my shoulders. I'm thinking about maybe even going shorter. I just got to change the hairstyle for a while, give it time to grow in, and then maybe go back to long hair. I haven't fully made that decision, but it is on the table. Okay. So now we look down here and we go back up to how the blood pulls it away and it creates death. The telogen phase, which is for 3-month full growth, you have to go through this process. 3 months from the day you start doing it right. Increasing your vitamin D, getting the collagen in, doing all your fat cell hormones. From there, it's going to create blood restoration, and it's going to give you regrowth. Carnivore flatlines all your insulin, and it heals your adrenal glands. Adrenal glands are huge in hair loss. Your gallbladder, huge in hair loss. Thyroid, all of that is being taxed by having a sick liver. So you're like, well, when I was sick, my hair wasn't falling out. If you would have waited a little bit longer, it would have fallen out, because what you're feeling today is actually what you were doing 3 months, 6 months, 9 months ago. It is not what you're doing today. If you're not even a year past carnivore, you're nowhere near healed. I'm telling you, I'm just being honest. I don't want to discourage you. This is a lifelong, life haul healing journey. You're on it, don't go off it. All right, from here, let's talk about amino acids. If you are not getting your amino acids in, you are also neglecting your body. So you want to make sure you're getting the 8 essential amino acids. And if your blood work comes back on your hormone panel and your testosterone is too high, you can take what they call a D as in dog, H as in Harry, T as in Tom, blocker. And what it'll do is it blocks the DHT, the testosterone, going to your scalp, which can cause hair loss in women or men if you're running too high. You'll grow hair everywhere, but not on your head. It'll block it so you can still feed your body. This actually affects your sex hormones too. Like if you have a dry vaginal area, you're not interested, low libido, you just don't really, you're not there. You're mentally going, man, I just would like to have sex, but I just don't have it. This is a testosterone issue. This is a hair loss issue. This whole entire hormone issue ties into each other, because it's like you have 2 arms, they function different ways, but they belong on the same body. Could you imagine if you had 2 left arms or 2 right arms? You wouldn't be able to pick things up the way you do. So you want to work together. Your entire system works together. Okay, so let's look at the bottom here. Your hair follicle dies inside your head before it ever gets out when we're into balding, right? So now we don't have any new growth. And quite frequently I'll say to you, can you see any new hair growing? And everybody's like, nope, just going bald, handfuls, blah, blah, blah. Okay, if you don't have that growing, you should go see your doctor, and they will give you a prescription for it that actually pulls the fluid out of your body so that the blood can do its work. Inflammation is in your head as well. So it's not just in your swollen ankles, your swollen knees, your swollen hips, your swollen thyroid, your lymph node glands. It's in your head too. So that can also, any inflammation, which is the #1 cause of balding, you'll see it in fat men, you see it in fat women, is because they have all this fluid. So we got to get the fluid moving out of your body. So how do you do that? Believe it or not, sleep and exercise is key, along with vitamin D, to restoring your hair growth. If you stay carnivore, you're going to get your nutrients. It's going to flatline your insulin, and it's a winning situation. You can't lose. That's the best part. You are looking at the results of 30 or 40 years of the standard American diet destroying your hair follicles. It did not happen because you went carnivore. I really pray I can drill that home without being too passionate on that. Okay, high insulin equals stress, loss of hair. Low insulin creates growth. But what happens when we go from high insulin to low insulin? Drastically. It's a stressor on the body, which is why weight loss creates stress on the body. The hair falls out, it stabilizes, and then it comes back. So don't lose hope. That's what I have to tell you today, is like, don't lose hope. Okay, we're gonna flip this over. I'm sure I missed a few things on there, but I'm sure you're getting the point too. So hair loss cause, inflammation, DHT, autoimmune. This is a disease, it's a hair follicle, and also Lechen's is a disease. It's a skin thickening of the scalp. I actually had that disease. I did not have it on my head, but it's where your skin gets almost scar looking, but you can have that in the scalp and not, like, you'll see little patches of like scarring in your head, and the hair can't grow through that. There's a medication for that. This is something you want to check in with your doctor, but if your blood work comes back, I promise you, quit being a worrywart. You do not have it, and it's not going to be an issue. Mine never affected my hair, so it wasn't a big deal. My daughter, who at the time was diagnosed at 12 with it, and she had like almost scarring on her leg, but she had never been burnt, but it looked like she was burnt. She did go for treatments, and then from there it was healed. All right, thyroid, hyper, or hypo. Absolutely affects the metabolism, affects the liver, or the liver affects the thyroid, gives you celiac disease, gluten digestive disease, gut disease. You want to make sure that if your scalp has fungus, that you're treating the fungus or the dermatitis, because this also can all affect your hair growth or hair loss. Ringworm is huge. People do not even pay attention that they have it. A lot of guys in military have it, boxers have it, gymnasts get it. So if you ever have little balding patches, you know what's great for your head is tea tree oil. Tea tree oil really stimulates the growth of the follicle, and then the follicle allows the hair to come through. Bamboo hair is where your hair quits growing long, but it turns into little teeny tiny curls. Again, this can all be treated with medication, but remember, be patient. You don't have a medicated problem. Don't create what do they call that, where you're oh shoot, I forgot the word, but like a hypochondriac. You don't have this. I'm just going over it because this is real critical hair issues. These are things that people are really working to get through if you have a disorder. You have inflammation, you might need DHT blocker, you definitely have autoimmune disease, but some of these other ones are just side things that you could look for, which if you saw your doctor, they would know immediately that you had these things. Literally, be patient with yourself. High testosterone, low testosterone, definitely the hormone affects your hair. Check it out. Get a testosterone test. See where your levels are. Are you too low? Are you too high? And then you can decide whether to use a DHT blocker to lower it or go on a medication from the doctor. Again, I am not a medical doctor, but you could go to a doctor and get this information. Now, this is some of the causes that are known medically to deal with hair loss and not getting regrowth. Now, let's look at other things in life that cause hair loss. Now, if you've never had children, you wouldn't understand that giving birth, there's a drop in the estrogen, there's an increase during pregnancy, it drops, and your hair falls out for about 6 to 8 weeks, maybe sometimes 3 months. Afterwards, it regrows and it changes. So childbirth definitely can affect every mother's hair. But you're saying to me, well, I've never had children, why do I have hair loss? You have hair loss because you have inflammation in your body and autoimmune disease and type 2 diabetes and a failing liver, lots of problems going on with your hormones, your cholesterol, and ultimately ends up in your hair. Weight loss, that is you. Maybe you've lost, maybe you haven't lost, but you changed your way of eating. So when we change things, we get a chain reaction of change. This is huge. Trauma. So not trauma to your head, but trauma in your life. Believe it or not, death of a loved one, people lose hair all the time. Divorce can cause kids to lose hair. Divorce in women causes hair loss. Literally any kind of emotional trauma can absolutely affect your hair because it affects your hormones and it affects all your glands, which then causes hair loss. And it causes it not to regrow back. Some of the other things is vitamin D. You absolutely need it. Your iron levels have to be where they need to be. And this one is my worst one. Hairstyles, I wear my hair up almost every single day. If you were to take my hair, you see the breakage is exactly that length. I know I can't do it. My daughter's now a hairstylist, and every day she's like, Mom, quit wearing your hair up. I'm like, well, what am I supposed to do with it while I'm teaching? She's like, put it in a braid. I put it in a braid and I get sweaty and hot and it drives me nuts. Henceforth why I want to cut it all. Now at night, huge issue. If you're sleeping with your hair up, then it's going to break off because your head's going back and forth. Get a silk pillowcase. I just recently got one in the last 2 months. I never ever was going to sleep on a silk pillowcase. I hate the way they feel. I've adapted quite well to it. I like it. I'm using it. And hopefully at some point, all of this breakage back here, look at that. That's just straight breakage right to the ponytail, right? So hopefully I will quit doing that. I'm also made a commitment to braid my hair every night before bed instead of leaving it up, because typically I just put it up, I leave it up, I take it down, brush it out, put it right back up. So my breakage and my short hairs that are maybe to here inside my long hair are highly broken, and it's not a growth issue, it's a breakage issue. So at some point, once your hair gets out of your scalp, it's dead hair, and it's gonna get drier and more brittle. So that's a whole nother subject. We're not even gonna go there. Hair products, this is huge. I changed my hair products 3 years ago. I buy from the wellness store. If you don't have a link, you want a link, let me know. I will definitely refer you over there, and I will definitely guide you on what hair products to use from there. The hair products, shampoo, conditioner, oils, hairspray, dry shampoo. I use a lot of products on my hair, a lot of products, and if I didn't choose good products, I have endocrine disruptors. The pathogens in there are making you sicker and sicker and sicker, and they are obesogens, which makes you fat. So who would ever think that our makeup and our hair products are making us fat? They are. So again, if you need information on hair products, facial products, lotion, dry skin, any of that type of stuff, oils, some supplements I recommend there, some I don't. I will help you and guide you through that. Just let me know, drop below, you need to do that. The next biggest cause is menopause. So whether you're 38, 36, 32 on the low end, your body is already aging out. Now, that doesn't mean we're aging to be old and we're destined to being in the grave at 70. But what it means is that when menopause happens, whether you had a hysterectomy or not, you have a hormone imbalance. So the hormone imbalance originally starts from the liver. You can reset that at age 40, 50, 60 by giving your body the nutrients it needs, and that is your D. So get that D up. 20,000 to 50,000 IUs a day is gonna lift up your attitude, it's gonna reduce your stress, and it's gonna give your body what it needs to get that hair growing. Okay, the next one is fluid buildup. And again, I'm bringing up fluid buildup because all fluid buildup in your toes, your hands, your feet, your ankles, your abs, you know, your abdominal area, which is one of the worst, your liver, your face, you can see inflammation everywhere. You must work out. And I have people who go, oh, I work out and I get sick. My immune system drops. No, that is a lie, an absolute lie. What's happening is you're detoxing. You're pushing out the toxins in your body, and sometimes they come out in sores on your skin. Sometimes they come out in rashes. Sometimes in your mouth. All lymphatic system issues show in the glands. So fibrosis of the breast, fibrosis of the uterus, fibrosis on the liver. All your glands have fluid inflammation equaling hair loss. Nothing to do with carnivore. As a matter of fact, you should be thankful that you're here and you have carnivore, because that's going to be your saving grace. That's what's going to heal you. And then remember that when you have fluid buildup, it blocks your androgen, and when that is blocked, you get no hair growth. So I am telling you today, use your Fit Pulse. Do walking. Start slow. Don't overdo. Do what you can do, but you must get that fluid going. Dry brushing, fascia blasting. We must get this stuff going in order to heal. Okay, you guys, I went way longer than I wanted to, but to be honest with you, this is a very sensitive subject, and I feel like if we don't address it, people get more and more stressed, they get more and more worried, and then you're actually cutting off the blood flow to your brain and to your hair growth. So think about it, realize what you need to do, get your blood work. If you're still concerned or your doctor's concerned and you need more help, always reach out. I'm here for you. I will help you any way I possibly can. But literally, this was a broke down. This is like a 5-hour course I could teach, maybe longer, and break it all down and actually give you all the medical technical names to teach you how to take care of this. But to summarize it for 5th grade, 6th grade, easy education, what do you need? Vitamin D, collagen, iron, B12. You've got to eat the red meat. Okay, quit eating chicken and turkey. That's why you got sick. You need the red meat. The red meat has the protein, it has the animal fat. It's gonna take care of you. Eggs, seafood, butter. Get that fluid out and you will heal. See you guys back soon. God bless you and take care.